With the recent uproar in Israel over the Netanyahu administration's controversial judicial reforms, I find it only fitting to trace back the origins of the modern Israeli political scene and help viewers understand the key figures, parties, and events that continue to shape Israel's future, and thus the future of the entire Middle Eastern theater. On April 25, 1925, in a cafe in the Latin Quarter of Paris, the Union of Revisionist Zionists held its founding conference. The union's leader, Ziv Jabotinsky, was born in Odessa, modern-day Ukraine, and soon became influential in his activism and was affiliated with the Jewish Self-Defense League, a Jewish militia that campaigned against Russian pogroms. The World Zionist Organization, as a representative of the organization in its dealings with the Ottoman Empire, and the Jewish Legion, co-founded by him as a Jewish regiment that fought with the British Army in World War I. Jabotinsky was a staunch Jewish nationalist who subscribed to a branch of Zionism known as Revisionist Zionism, a radical movement built on the idea of territorial maximalism of the Jewish state. This state was known as Eretz Yisrael, a traditional Judaic concept, one that advocated for the Jews' political aspirations over the historical area known as British Palestine and the Transjordan. Jabotinsky believed that only an iron wall of Jewish bayonets would secure the Jewish state, yet at the same time was a self-professed liberal Democrat who wrote that, from the wealth of our land, there shall prosper the Arab, the Christian, and the Jew. In his writings, Jabotinsky rejected fascism and leader worship, yet many in his movement were sympathetic of these, openly identifying as fascists, and proposing the development of a Jewish majority on both sides of the Jordan River. The new Zionist organization had called for an international evacuation of the Jewish masses from the danger zone of Central and Eastern Europe. A 10-year plan was formulated to absorb into Palestine some 1.5 million Jews. The Jewish public was overwhelmingly resistant to this plan, but, nonetheless, the Revisionists and later the Haganah, a Jewish militia, were instrumental in bringing about the mass flooding of Palestine with Jewish refugees and immigrants. After Germany's loss in World War II, prominent Zionists worked with the Allies to usher in the establishment of a nation-state for the Jews, which led to the creation of Israel in 1948. Israel's first Knesset, or parliament, was elected in 1949. Menachem Begin, the man who succeeded Jabotinsky, had decided to follow mainstream politics. The mainstream revisionist party became the Herut, a political party that advocated for conservative and nationalist politics in Israel's government. Extreme and far-right elements in these early years were largely underground and often operated on the fringe of Israeli public sentiment. Some members would advocate for staging a coup and overthrowing the established state so that they could achieve their objectives, but these actions would be mostly fruitless and yield little support. Nonetheless, Herut was definitely far more radical and ultra-nationalist than most parties today in the Western political mainstream, probably even the global political mainstream. It drew on its founder's history, taking credit for both driving the British out as well as organizing the populating of the Jewish state, leading the party to absorb any right-wing or Jewish nationalist sentiments that happened to be popular at the time. Herut and his later successor, the Likud party, supported Israeli occupation of the West Bank as well as the Gaza Strip, an invasion of Lebanon to deny the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, its basis of support, and refused to recognize the sovereignty of Jordan. Its party members would tout the line from both banks of the Jordan to remind everyone of their ideology's geopolitical aims. When Herut merged with other parties of Judaism's right, liberals and secularists were brought head-to-head with ethno-nationalists and proto-fascists. Likud, meaning consolidation in Hebrew, would be Israel's sole right-wing party with a chance to govern the nation, and this opportunity would attract many to the group.